On, here we are. Finally, sorry, it's taken me a few minutes to get this actually rolling. Hope it is going. Welcome. This is I'm Donato Cabrera, and this is what I hope to be the first of many Facebook Live events without technical difficulties that we will present to you both here on my Facebook page and on the Las Vegas Philharmonic Facebook page, California Symphony Facebook page. We've had over the last week since we've announced it was going to happen, a lot of wonderful questions. I want to dive into those as soon as I can, but I just want to just thank all of you for your continued support. I want to thank all the musicians for being steadfast. As many of you, I'm sure, have read, the gig economy, the first gig economy ever were our fantastic musicians who play in many orchestras, including the California Symphony and Las Philharmonic. And now I have a call from Michelle. Hey, Michelle. Is it working? Yeah, I'm on. Are you watching? I see that I'm live right now. Live video. Okay, hold on. So, okay, just go again to my Facebook page. Professional Facebook page. Is it there? Sorry, folks, if you are watching. Okay, all right, I'm online. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. All right. I'm getting a lot of folks saying I'm having a problem with the stream, but I'm live, so see me, great. Welcome again. I'm not going to do the introduction the third time, but I'm going to dive right into the questions. Let's see. We have from first from Giada Valenti. Hi, Giada. She's a fantastic artist from a fantastic singer who lives in Las Vegas. What does she have to ask? Dear Maestro Cabrera, as a professional singer, I have worked with several orchestras in the U.S. and Europe, with the Metropole Orchestra in the Netherlands, conducted by Carl Bacher, and the Roma Sinfonietta Orchestra, conducted by Encone. I noticed how the conductor can really make a difference. I saw that the orchestras conducted by different conductors, and they sounded so differently, almost like they were in orchestras. All musicians in the orchestra are very well trained. That's very true. They can read the music very well. How do you explain the music? The magic power of a good conductor on the execution of a piece. Number one, that's the first question. How to prepare to conduct the orchestra. Number two, and I hope to have the meet you and work with you one day too. Thank you so much, Giada. Thank you, Giada. Well, there's a couple of interesting points in this question. First and foremost, how do you explain the so-called quote-unquote magic power of a good conductor on the execution of a piece? In my opinion, it's all about how one prepares and how people think a conductor prepares and how a conductor decides to go into that rehearsal process, whether it's their own orchestra, as I would do with the California Symphony or the Las Vegas Philharmonic, or as a conductor meeting an orchestra and musicians for the first time. It's all about having an idea, having an opinion. And it's hard to say whether, you never know whether the history will match. Sometimes a great conductor can come to and work for the first time with a great orchestra, and it's like a first date. It's either going to not. Usually it does, but there are levels of how things are successful between an orchestra and conductor. And it's very interesting for me. When I first started conducting, I was always so intent of making a great first impression at all times. And sometimes it just didn't work. And I eventually came to the conclusion that we all have a place to be. And if I have a point of view, people are either going to accept it or not. And I'm great with that. And maybe there'll be an orchestra or a conductor. That match will happen again in a more successful way. So that's the answer to your first question. And how do I personally prepare to conduct the orchestra? Well, it depends on the repertoire that's chosen. So, for instance, if it's a piece that I have conducted many times, say a Beethoven symphony, something that I will look forward to, because conducting a great masterwork is like going to the Louvre or the Metropolitan Museum, seeing one of those, the Art Institute in Chicago, and one of those paintings you know and love. You can return again and again throughout life, and that perspective will constantly change as you grow and experience that art throughout your life in different ways. And so for me, returning to, say, a Beethoven symphony or Brahms symphony, or concerto, it's all about looking at it with fresh eyes, but you can't help but have the experience, things that you've learned throughout the years in reading it in the past. So maybe that for that process of bringing a symphony back to life, that can be a quicker process, but it also can be something that you can have a much more revealing process as well, because you've learned some of the things of the why, where, how, and who already. Now you're dealing into why you're doing it again, and how are you going to do this, and why. So I prepare a new piece of music entirely different. Often if it's a new piece of music, we're lucky that if it's a piece of music by a living composer, I can mail that composer or call them up and ask them what they were thinking about when they were composing it, or what were some of the circumstances behind why they composed the piece that why they chose the piece or the repertoire. And love that. I love to have that opportunity whenever possible, because with composers, there's just no that are from a previous century. They're just that opportunity is not there, and I can make educated guesswork with Brahms, but with say a composer like Catherine Balch or Michael Torkey or Nathaniel Stuckey or Mason Bates. We have not only a working relationship, but a professional and working relationship. We have a personal relationship as well. So I have no qualm to just give them a call and talk about them. And they are always very happy to do that, because they want to have. They still have those pieces they've composed are like their children, and they have ownership and a love of all the pieces they've composed. And if a conductor or a performer shows interest in it, with a vested interest in that piece, they're more than always welcome to, more happy to share their experiences in the notes. So with that in mind, learning a new piece of music will take more time. So it's a matter of time management, knowing how long you need in order to bring back a piece to learn a new piece of music. And it's always a combination of, while I'm rehearsing and conducting a week of music, I'm already preparing for the next week, for the next month, next 6 months. And it's a lot of my time. That's the majority of the time that I spend as a conductor. It is score preparation in my apartment, not on them. Can you say about, this is I love this question. Can you say something about how the orchestra is paid? In one concert a while ago, the percussion lady played 2 notes gong the whole evening, whereas the violins are usually playing all the time. Presumably, the principals get a bit more. Do musicians get a retainer if they don't play in a particular concert? Is there a base plus parents pay? A musician live off of orchestral pay, or do they have all? These are all about the incredible world of the freelance musician and the full-time musician, or freelance musician creates a full-time life out of various jobs. So, okay, first of all, it is interesting, but a truth that whereas a violin has per square inch exponential more notes than a percussion might have over the course of the evening, the ability to play a gong or a triangle or a timpani or a tuba, violin, all the preparation to become a professional musician is the same. In other words, it takes years of study to go up on stage, count measures, know the score well enough, know exactly the type of sound you want to make from one note on the gong or the hundreds of notes, sometimes thousands of notes on the violin. It takes an equal amount of preparation. I know that may sound not quite accurate, but it is absolutely the truth. Having so many friends that were percussionists in conservatory and violinists who were percussionists, violinists in conservatory, the amount of knowledge and just the sheer amount of work to prepare and study all instruments is profound. And so while one concert, that lady playing the gong might play 2 notes, the next concert they may have to play 17 different instruments all on the same piece and have to know the background and the history of all of those 17 percussion instruments. Whereas a violinist is still playing the same instrument that was made 400 years ago. So there's always a give and take. So sort of answering, I think, the first question. So, all right, presumably they pay a bit more. Yes, there is a slightly different pay scale for principal musicians versus musicians in this section. And it depends, the difference in pay is the same for every orchestra, it really depends on the contract involved. Now, is there a base salary? So for a full-time orchestra, and a full-time orchestra is like any other time employment, 52 weeks out of the year. The major orchestras, the major full-time orchestras would be, say, the Los Angeles Philharmonic. Orchestras that play usually 3 or 4, sometimes more, every week of the year, parts of the summer. That include LA Philharmonic, Cleveland Orchestra, Chicago Symphony, New York Philharmonic, Cincinnati Symphony, San Francisco Symphony, Seattle Symphony. The list goes on and on. These are full orchestras. They have a salary, they get paid a week, and they have an incredible workload. Like I said, usually 3 or 4 a week, every week. Now, there are various levels of orchestra, sizes of orchestras. Orchestras that maybe play every 2 weeks, or an orchestra plays every maybe every 2 weeks, or like the case of the Las Vegas Philharmonic, one concert every month between November and May, usually 9 or 10 concerts per season. The California Symphony does the same, but we do 5 concerts of 2 each, and so again we offer about concerts, but half as many programs. And there are many orchestras of this size throughout the country, and that in that case, the musicians often do many other things. In the case of the Las Vegas Philharmonic, there are university professors. Many of the UNLV music faculty play in the Las Vegas Philharmonic. In addition to their full job at the university, we have an amazing amount of teachers, musicians that either are teaching in the school district, teaching privately, and so within that case, we have a whole panoply of different professions on stage, most of which are musical professions when they're not playing in Las Vegas, but not always, and musicians cobble together their various incomes of a living. In the case of the California Symphony, it's the same thing. I would say the musicians in the California Symphony also play many other regional orchestras in there, and there are quite a few, going as far north as Santa Rosa Symphony and as far as the Monterey Symphony, and in between, and musicians will go as far east as the Reno Philharmonic and the Reno Chamber Orchestra. So the area in which these musicians cobble together in a full-time is huge. In fact, that's one of their nicknames is the Freeway Philharmonic. Let's see if there's anything. What else is? Okay, yes, all right. This is. By the way, that was Brian Dodd. Thank you, Brian, for that question. Samantha Segal has a very hard question to answer. Actually, if you could only listen to one composer, one only, for the rest of your life, who would it be and why? Well, I've been thinking about this. I got sent yesterday, and I thought, oh boy, what am I going to say? And the first thing that popped in my head was Mozart. So I'm going to go with Mozart, even though it would be Sophie's choice for me in the end if I really had to make that decision. But the reason I think Mozart popped into my head first is because he has so many different types of music to enjoy. If I were stuck on an island for the rest of my life, I could listen to any number of operas that I love: Marriage of Figaro, Così fan tutte, Don Giovanni. I could, if you music, the Mass in C minor, his Requiem Mass, all the chamber music, the oboe quartet, the piano quartet, the clarinet quintet, the violin sonatas, all the concertos he wrote, the 5 violin concertos, the 27 and counting piano concertos, his 41 plus symphonies. He just has so much music to choose from that I think I would find it enjoyable to spend the rest of my life either the pieces I already know and love or discovering new pieces. I listen to every single piece that Mozart composed. It would take a while. Of course, and I dare not say another composer because she only wants me to pick, but a close second would be Bach, of course, and Beethoven. There are many composers, but the first one that popped in my head was Mozart, so there you have it. Okay, next. We love Donato's warmth in treating his audience. He has stated that he welcomes the audience to applaud between movements in a symphony or concerto. Most European audiences are more disciplined and would frown upon this practice. Does he feel that there should be a uniform standard? Hope to return to live performance by your superb symphony as soon as possible. Austin Ward. Well, Austin, I think I need to back up a little bit in answering this question, as maybe some of you aren't aware of sort of the history behind clapping, not clapping between movements. The 20th century phenomenon. The idea of not clapping movements of a symphony or concerto didn't really start happening until the advent of live radio broadcasts, at which point it was asked that the audiences not clap because the microphones couldn't handle it, for one thing, and it really was just, it felt, the radio producers and the conductors felt it was disturbing this time. That's how one of the reasons people believe that this started happening, because it was certainly not nice. We have many letters and many first-hand accounts by composers and audience members and critics of people clapping wholeheartedly between the symphonies of Brahms and Tchaikovsky, Mahler, and even Mahler into the 20th century. Why did it clap between movements? Well, I think if you go to any other concert of any other musical genre, it is certainly still very encouraged to clap when you enjoy something. Jazz concert is a great example. Between your favorite rock band, of course, happen. You're screaming the whole night anyway. But in classical music, it exists in opera. So, Metropolitan Opera, Chicago Lyric, La Scala in Europe, Covent Garden, a great tenor, a soprano finishes their aria from Traviata Aida, and the tradition, of course, is to go wild. Sometimes the music stops, and sometimes even the tenor, this big star on stage will break character and take a bow, and then go back into character, and the music will continue. This is a glimpse into how people responded to all classical music not that long ago, 100 years ago at the most. I feel the reason why I've wanted to bring this back, and I've talked a lot about this, written a lot about it. The reason I wanted to bring it back is that people, someone who is new to our art form and sitting down for the very first time will have no idea people aren't clapping. And they by chance come and decide that they realize something and start clapping, often people will shush them. That is not right. I don't think it's right at all. I think it's welcoming. I think it creates a stigma that you're not welcome. You need to know something. There's like an inside track. There's like all these things you need about, oh gosh, should I dress a certain way to a concert? And when do I clap? When don't I clap? And gosh, sometimes they clap after the movement of this Tchaikovsky violin concerto, but then they don't other times. I use, well, I want to get rid of that confusion. And by the way, I will say that European audiences are also changing. I encourage you to go to free right now to the Digital Concert Hall, which is a fantastic website of the Berlin Philharmonic, where they streamed and have made available every concert. And there are many, many examples at the esteemed Berlin Philharmonic of the audience clapping between movements now. And I think it's a wonderful development. Now, I do know that there are some traditionalists that have grown up and are proud of the fact that they know when to not clap and when to clap. I appreciate that. But I think it is time for us to be as welcoming as possible to the concert and to get rid of any preconceptions that aren't really worth learning in the first place. Okay, what is next? Oh, boy, here we go. Nobody knows how long this may last. The experts are now talking about June, at least, but may even be longer. If the virus recedes when the weather gets warmer, as some people predict, would it make sense to program a short season during this? You know, there are a variety of options that orchestras, Las Vegas Philharmonic and California Symphony are with them, where all the cards on the table right now. We like you don't know what's going to be happening, not only in the near future, but in the summer and into the fall. We're all going forward with hope and planning as if things are going to continue. And that's the only way all of us can act right now in our lives, both personal and emotional. So if it's a possibility to have something happen in the summer, I'm sure we will think about it and consider that. Thank you, Sergio, by the way. That was Sergio Nacht. Good afternoon, Maestro Donato. Living in Ohio, my husband Ray and I visit Las Vegas several times during the year. On one occasion, we attended the after-concert reception for a meet and greet. We appreciate your friendliness, welcome, shown to us as if we were dear acquaintances. My question, have you done movies with musical accompaniment? We had occasion to enjoy Indianapolis Symphony with Casablanca. If so, do you have a date? Love your Smith Center. Beautiful. Betty Laughlin from Greenville, Ohio. Well, thank you, Betty, for coming to Las Vegas and choosing the Las Vegas Philharmonic. It's always amazing to me and such a gift to us where we find out that people who are coming to Las Vegas often to have fun, as people and the only way Las Vegas can offer, to come out to the Smith Center and enjoy an evening of music by the Las Vegas Philharmonic. So getting to the question of movies with music. Well, in fact, the year before I became the music director, I believe in 2013, Las Vegas Philharmonic performed Casablanca, that movie. I wasn't the music director yet, but just 2 seasons ago, we did the music to the movie Psycho with the fantastic, iconic score of Bernard Herrmann. And of course, we had the movie projected onto a beautiful, large screen right above the Orchestra. And our audience it was an incredible event. And it again showing incredible the Smith Center, because it is a new hall, has all of the technology that's required to make an evening of a movie with an orchestra happen at the very highest level. In fact, there's a lot of orchestras a lot bigger than us. So as to Casablanca, the plan would probably not to do it again anytime soon, but we are always looking to have this opportunity to have movies performed by the Las Vegas Philharmonic and projected onto a screen. It's a matter of cost and a matter of seeing which ones and a matter of figuring out what would work best with the audience and when. So yes to movies, yes to orchestras playing movies, and it's something that we are always looking to do for the future. Next question. Thank you, Betty, for that. Next question. I'm from Baltimore and just saw an impressive piece. They did 8 minutes of Mahler's Third Symphony, which I also saw. It's an incredible link. Go to either Baltimore Symphony's Facebook page. It's also on their YouTube channel. They released the final of Mahler's Third Symphony. The question is, Taylor, do you think something like this could happen with our Philharmonic? Well, yeah. If I ever have the chance to do a Mahler Symphony No. 3, which is, I hate to say it, I don't know. It's probably my favorite. You know, every week a different Mahler Symphony is my favorite, but it's certainly, as a former horn player, it has the greatest beating practically of any symphony ever written, in my humble opinion. And it's one of this by Mahler I have not conducted, and a symphony that would be very appropriate for the Las Vegas Philharmonic. I love to combine community groups, choirs, our master chorale, the university, and it's one of those symphonies by Mahler that requires large forces. And yes, I would love to do it. We don't have any specific dates, of course, but that's on my wish list. Okay, what's next? Aha. Sending love from our home in Southern Highlands to Donato to the Philharmonic. Thank you. Family of 5, 4 humans, and 1 awesome boxer named Lucia. We'd like to know who is your favorite film score composer, or what favorite ingredients on a pizza. Okay, I'll do the last one first. My favorite ingredients on the pizza, I'm very traditional. I love Italian sausage, pepperoni, some mushrooms, onions, the typical, supreme pizza. And what's my favorite film score? Well, that's a toss-up. There's great ones. Of course, I've already mentioned Berman. And then there is John Williams, of course, where we all love to not only listen to but to play orchestras. He's orchestra conductors. It's all in our DNA. And so the music of Williams, really special to a lot but there's so many more. Jerry Goldsmith. It's a field full of very talented voices, and I love those composers' music. Thank you, Danielle, for that question. Okay, from Alan and Dorothy Blake. Hi, you two. What are the contingency plans for Vegas Philharmonic given the uncertainty of when normal will resume again? Well, I just mentioned the keeping all the cards on the table and being flexible, open, and to the idea of just doing what we can when appropriate. And the second part of the question is thoughts about how to set up and conduct a socially distanced orchestra. And that's something we're all sort of toying with. It's in a way something how making a lemonade. If I were to make a statement about orchestras, is that we could have always done better at technology like we're using today to reach out to audience like we are right now, more frequency. And whether that means we will be able to stream concerts in the future, or many more events like this where I'm doing interviews or talk about how the music is put together. I think this has given us the platform to dive in and really go for it in terms of creating online presence with frequency and engagement. Good question. Okay, John Katz. Oh, I like this. I like this question. What is your favorite Danielle piece? Okay, favorite Danielle piece that I've conducted is I love that concert. I did last season. I did it was this season. This Danny Elfman. It seems so now. In the fall, the Las Vegas Philharmonic did a Danny Elfman meeting, and I love them all. But I have to say the Batman suite that he created from the film was so well constructed, and it's just difficult to take the music from a movie and condense it into something as persuasive as a symphonic piece, and something that's maybe 10 or 20 minutes long, where in the movie it was used sporadically throughout the 2 hours and 15 hours that the movie used this music. So that piece was pretty successful. I loved it. I love that, and the audience really liked that. So that's my answer for that. Question from John: how about a sampling of a set list for collaboration with the Killers? That is actually already. I talked to their manager, and that's on the table. Also, I'd love to have some sort of collaboration with Imagine Dragons. Both of these are fantastic proponents and just representatives of the Las Vegas community. To have them collaborate with the Las Vegas Philharmonic would be fabulous. And the third question: your favorite song from Duran Duran show you attended at Lalaurie Fence Center in February 1984? Well, I still love Rio and Girls on Film. Those are my songs. What can I say? Terry, and she asks, and her son, John, actually, this is a question from Johnny. What qualities do conductors share? This is a question, sorry. Communication. Great conductors share one form or another the ability to communicate their ideas to a large group of people. If they can't do one thing, they can't conduct. Then Johnny asked, do you have a favorite baton? Well, the baton I gave Johnny was my favorite one. That's my answer to that. All right. Florence K. She's a 6-year-old pianist and chess enthusiast and ballerina. Wow, very accomplished. Florence asks, when did you know that you wanted to become a conductor? It's a difficult question, not in that it was sort of my idea that I wanted to first become an educator, and I wanted to be like my high school band director. So he was a great conductor, a great teacher, and I wanted to do what he did. So I started out my life as a music education major, and in doing that, I knew I had to be good at conducting. I loved the idea of, I've always felt that the idea of a conductor is one, first and foremost, is that of being a great teacher. And so out of my love of conducting grew my love of conducting, and that happened in high school, and especially, I would say specifically, I was a freshman in college, sophomore in college. When did I start conducting? I started kind of conducting in high school. It was not really good, I can guarantee you that. I started waving my arms around, and I started in earnest when I was 19. I was more at the University of Nevada, Reno, and I naively asked the orchestra conductor, who was also my horn professor, if I could something on the next orchestra concert, and I have yet to figure out why he said yes, but he said yes, and it changed my life. What instruments first instrument was piano. My instrument, which I started playing in middle school, no, 6th grade, was the French horn. And when I was a music education major, or part of the degree is you learn how to at least play, get a sound out of all of the instruments. And so over the course of 3 years, you take various lessons and classes, all the string instruments and all the woodwind instruments, all the instruments and percussion instruments. So I have a working knowledge of how all the instruments make a sound. Who was your favorite composer when you were 6 years old? When I was 6 years old, my favorite composer when I was 6 years old, I can tell you this, was Scott Joplin. I loved the Sting, and that music remained my favorite music for many years beyond my 6th year. Wow, hers, Florence, 6 years, her favorite is Beethoven. Well, good for you. Wow, that I was not nearly as advanced as you are now, so keep it up. So let's see. Georgia would like to know. Yes, hi Georgia. Could you please speak about what been the upcoming concert? So you're talking about the final concert in May, maybe the March concert that we just passed, because it just happened, was an music of Kurt Weill, and we were very, very excited about this concert coming up, because it was music that none of the orchestra had played or played before, except for perhaps some have played the Seven Deadly Sins. We were going to have this great, and I'm sure this will happen, just been put on hold. We had Storm Large, who is a fantastic singer, often with Pete Martini, and she has her own, which has been at Myron's Cabaret Jazz as well. She would have sung the Seven Deadly Sins, would have performed also a suite from one of his later musicals, and then his Second Symphony. But that concert's on hold for now. So that's, and we would have delved into the reasons what Kurt Weill really was so advanced for his time. He was during the Weimar years in Berlin in the 1920s. He was the composer. He was very famous for the musical The Threepenny Opera, and then being Jewish, he had to flee Berlin. Eventually made it to New York, at which point he mastered the English language, became a citizen, and started writing musicals for Broadway. And these musicals, Street Scene being probably the most famous, West Side Story would not have happened if it not for Kurt Weill. That's my big statement of it. Bill Rollins asks, what would it take to get Gabriela Montero or Alma Deutscher as a visiting performer? These are both pianists. Gabriela Montero is slightly older than Alma, and Alma Deutscher, as being a fantastic pianist, she also plays violin, and she's a great composer. And she's just really a gifted young lady. These are both wonderful artists. I would love to bring them. No specific plans, but last year I saw Alma's opera, the Opera San Jose, the premiere, which was now available to watch. It was so good. I was so impressed with her, and a very talented young composer. Okay, we have. This is a big question. I'll end with this one, unless I have some other people here. How do I score study? All right, good. All right, this is all stuff I've already answered before. So this is the one from. It's a multi-question. Robert Davis. When are you going to bring Joyce Yang? Good question. I love Joyce. Joyce opened not this season, but the prior season of the Las Vegas Philharmonic. She played the Rachmaninoff Second Piano Concerto. It was actually Joyce's second time. During my first season, I played the Paganini Variations in the Theme of Paganini by Rachmaninoff. And she came back last season to do the Second Piano Concerto of Rachmaninoff. And she's part of our family. You know, some of her I would love to see every year, but there's so many soloists that we'd like to bring that, but we will bring her back, I promise. She's great. Please bring in more piano virtuosos. Well, yes, I love piano concertos like you, but there's so many great concertos for other instruments, and what I try to do is it's very appealing to do those amazingly huge piano concertos as possible, but it's also important to have variety. So to have the occasional cellist, the occasional clarinetist or percussionist as a concerto soloist. It's nice. It's I love piano concertos. When will you do Beethoven? I did do Beethoven's Pastoral, I think 3 seasons ago. When will you do Scheherazade? That happened the year before I became music director, so we could do it again soon. It's been 6 years. When will I do Rhapsody in Blue? I did do Rhapsody in Blue 4 years ago, I believe. But it's something to bring back to the Las Vegas for sure. We're going to be doing the Rhapsody in Blue California Symphony, possibly. Okay. Is that it? Where are we here? Let me see if I've passed up any questions from my folks online. All right, that's it. I've been told that this is the end. Okay, so continuing questions. This is what I need you to do. This is your homework. Continuing questions. Also, what I'd like to do is add guests to this. So what I've always enjoyed is to pre-concert talks. I love to interview the guest soloists, musicians of the orchestra, a variety of people. I would like to create that online for both the Las Vegas Philharmonic and California Symphony, for anyone else that just loves to hear what artists do behind the stage. So stay for that, but continue engaging with both the California Symphony and Las Vegas Philharmonic. Keep on sending these questions in. I have a whole bunch of questions I still need to do. I'm going to answer them probably this afternoon. And thank you for being here. And I'll see you soon. Stay safe, everybody.